Day 14. All right, let's see what we have. Let's see, where is 14? I see 15, 16. Oh, here's 14. Oh, it's a bigger door. It is a flower stencil. All right, let's see what we can come up with this. So in today's door, we had another stencil. So we already did one where we'd used it as a background stamp. So I wanted to do something different with this one. I thought it might be a good chance to use some texture paste. Now this is transparent gloss texture paste. It kind of comes out kind of like a glossy accents kind of, where it's clear and it's really shiny, but you can apply this to the whole stencil. So we're going to use that. I have some green for the leaves. I have 2 shades of red for the flowers. And the type of card I've chosen is a Foldback gatefold card. So for that, if you had 15-inch long paper, because that's how much paper you actually need to make the card, you could score it at 2.5, 5, 10, and 12.5. Call yourself good. Most people don't have 15-inch paper, so what you'll need to do is cut 2 pieces of paper, one that is 7 by 5.5, one that is 7 by 10, and both pieces you're going to score at 2.5 and 5. I know that sounds a little strange, but that's the way the math works out. Now that is to put the seam in the corner. Now some people do like to make a regular gatefold card and then just put 2 panels on the top, but I'll do that a different day. So the panels in the front will be 2.5 are 2.5 inches wide. Now when you measure the stencil, it is just shy of 2.5. So we're not going to have a lot of leeway here and a lot of extra space on the sides. So what I decided to do was to cut the mat 2.5 by 7. So that will cover the whole front panel. And then what we're going to do the stencil on will just be the 1/4 inch smaller, so that will be 2.25. So this will cover the whole front panel of the card. So we're going to do this a little backwards because the texture paste takes a few minutes to dry. So we're going to do the panels first. All right, so this panel is 6 3/4 long and 2 1/4 wide. Yep. So we have 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to stencil these on here. Now my first thought was I would do 3, but 3 doesn't fit. So I had to do a little math and figured out I can do 2, and I will start 3/4 of an inch down. So I'm going to take my ruler. I need some tape. We're going to find 3/4 of an inch. Just right there. Now we need to center this because this is going to barely fit. Make sure we're still at 1/4. There we are. All right, now I'm going to put some tape across the top here. I'm going to put a piece of tape across the bottom. I want this to be a little more coverage over here to where it's going to hold it down because this is curling up. All right. Not pretty, but it do the job. So I'm going to make the flowers. I think I'm going to do the big ones, the darker color, and the smaller ones, the light color. So we're going to start here with the small ones, and I'm using a little brush for this. All right. Now the bigger flowers, and I will say on this stencil, really inspect yours really good. I had a few spots that it didn't cut out on the leaf. So make sure you check yours before you start stenciling. All right. So now let's come in with the green. And I do have 2 shades of green. Oh, look, see, I still have a little piece there. So I'm thinking, yeah, this was one of my new ones that I hadn't used it yet. So you know what? Let me look at it over here real quick. All right. So thinking I want to do some of these little leaves in the lighter color. Then I'll do the rest of the leaves in the darker color. There. All right, now I want to give the flowers a little oomph here. So I'm going to take my thinnest art liner, which is the 0.05, and I am going to outline these petals. This stencil's a little fussy. We'll have to see if this is going to work or not. All right, let me peek under here before we move on to the paste. I think it will be all right. All right, so we're only going to need a little bit of paste here. Usually I do this on much bigger things, so we'll see if this is crazy or not. Okay, give it a shot. All right, so we're only going to need a tiny little bit of paste here. And you can apply this with an old gift card. You know what, this is going to be too hard to do. I'm going to do the whole thing. Yeah. Now we just smooth it like you butter toast. And I will tell you the what I'm using here is actually from my cake decorating. Ooh, my ink was not dry. Let me grab a paper towel. Alright, so now I'm going to smooth this over. Why? I think the rough edge there is catching it. Alright. All right, I think we'll be okay. All right, I'm going to sit this and let this dry. We'll work on the other one. So we'll take this one out. Let me get rid of all this mess. Okay, so I cleaned this all off. So let's come down to 3/4 again. Now I'm going to reverse this because that's one thing you can do with stencils. You can't do with a stamp. So on this one, the leaves are on this side. So on this one, I'm going to put the leaves going out the other side. So 3/4. Get lined up here. All right, now I'm going to try and do this with sticky notes this time. Let's see if this is strong enough to hold it down. We will know rather quickly if it's not. 3/4. Yeah, that's not going to hold it down. There's just not enough stamp here to hold, I mean, not enough stencil to hold it down like that. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to do the light colored ones. Bring back in the greens, and this one, the lighter one, is a jelly bean green from Gina K. Now I do have a towel over here I'm wiping this off on in case there's any excess ink still on there. Okay, so carefully pull this tape off. All right, so now, oh, I got a couple smudges here. Take my sand eraser to it. All right. So now we're going to take this again, 3/4 of an inch from the bottom. there. I'm going to slide this underneath here to protect what we already did, since it's still wet. So now I'm going to go in reverse since I already have this in my hand. Whoop. I do the big flowers. I mean the big leaves. Now since I'm going dark to light, let me wipe some of this off. Take out the green. All right. Pull this back. All right, that looks pretty good. Now we need to paste these. So we'll put that back on. Close the ink. Oh, I didn't line it. all lined. Now we can, here, oh, we still have one more to do. And I'm going to go back up to this top one. Oh, I did not line that one either. To do the paste, simply because the ink has had a little bit of time to dry. Let me line this really quick. Now let's take a little bit of paste. All right, there's one. I wipe this off a little bit more. Now line it up with the bottom. This is going to be the tricky part because this is so close together. There we go. Now we're low enough down. All right, you have to do this very carefully. Just smooth it out. Make sure you have an even coat. carefully remove this. All right, now I'm going to let this dry. This is a lot easier to do when you have one big stencil. But we've started the project. We're going to continue on. All right. As you can see, this is already a lot clearer. So this is the one we just did. And this is the one that's been drying a few minutes. It's getting clearer. All right, so now this side, we are back to stenciling it this way. We need 3/4 of an inch. All right, there's that. That's going to be too wide. Let's do this. All right, we'll take one piece of tape that way, one over here, so I can kind of angle it, and that in the middle. And we'll have to be careful. All right, so once again, let's go with the reds. We'll do dark first. Wipe this off a little bit. Do the light. Move over to the dark green. Let me wipe this off a little bit. And we will go to the light green. Wipe that off. outliner. Okay, I think that's all of it. It was not liking going on that wet ink. Now I'm going to take my heat tool this for a second. I just did that just because I know it didn't have a chance to dry and I don't want to get red ink in here like I did the first time. Alright, so that is way too much. Yeah, that ink's still a little wet. But we are in the home stretch here. There we go. All right, now I am going to let all that dry and go wipe this off, and then we will construct the card. So everything's had a chance to dry, and now you can see how shiny it is. And it really brings out the color. And when you outline your stencil, it really does bring some definition to it. So this is what we have now. So now we just need to attach it to the front of the card. All right, so here's our card blank. So this is going to go on here like this. But I think before I do that, I want to edge the paper a little bit. And I'm going to use the light carnation from Gina K. So I'm just going to go around here, lightest of touch. All right, so there we go. So now we need to decide which way they're going to go. And I think I want them to go, get this out of the way. I want them to go like this. So I'm going to put the flowers with the leaves on the outside. That will go here. And then I have a sentiment or greeting to go on the front here, and I have something to go on the inside. So let's go ahead and glue this on, and then we'll stamp the other pieces. All right, so there's that. Yeah, look how shiny that is. And the outlining really does make a difference. When you outline part of it, it really does help the flowers to stand out. Looks totally different. Okay, now let's grab the stamping platform. Now this one is, these are both from the verses. This one says, "Let's celebrate in style." And I'm going to stamp it on a paper that is 2 inches by 1 inch. So I want to make this as small as I could. Here we go. And so I cut one. This was 2 inches by 1 inch. So I wanted it to have a teeny tiny little border. So I cut it 2 1/8 and 1 1/8 to make the frame. So this next one, I cut this 4 by 6 for the inside. And this is also from the verses. And I'm going to put this in the middle. That looks pretty good. There we go. That looks good. All right, so we'll take this out. Close this up. Put this to the side. We're all done with the black. So I am going to give this a quick edging since I edged the panels. Just so everything looks consistent. All right, go on this. There we go. I will glue these. There's that. And this I did make a bigger border because it's going to be in the whole inside of the card. So I thought that would be fine. You know, sometimes it really does depend on the size of the area you're working with. I think the bigger something is, the bigger border you can do. But when you do something really small, I think a little border looks a lot better. It's just personal opinion. All right, so this here, I measured the inside 4 by 6. And so the outside is 4.5 by 6.5. Now let's glue this on. All right, that will be in the middle. This will go on the outside. I think we'll put this on foam. let's see now. We have to decide, do we want this straight or do we want it at an angle? I kind of like it at an angle. All right, so we're going to put this on at an angle. There we go. So we have a fold back gatefold card, 5x7. So we use the translucent texture paste by Ranger. And we let that dry and we outlined the flowers. There we go. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you try and make one. You just need the 15 inches of paper and fold 2.5, 2.5, 5 across the back. And hope you enjoyed that. And I will see you tomorrow with the next door. Till then, stay crafty.